President, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen.
Historically, the most destructive force to imperil the world has been chauvinistic nationalism, when raised to feral extremes by self-serving, callous leaders and amplified by mass ideologies which themselves repress freedom. The UN was conceived in order to prevent its rebirth. Chauvinistic nationalism is the polar opposite of the UN, its very antonym and enemy. So why are we so submissive to its return? Why are we in the UN so silent? Twice in the course of my mandate, I have reported on the troubling failure by a number of countries to grant access, and I will do so again today. These refusals of access constitute a serious affront to our work, and where there is sustained denial of access and serious reasons to believe violations are occurring, we will consider the option of remote monitoring. The horrific violations and abuses committed since then, principally by the government and its allies, but including also the violent extremists and their supporters, have destroyed much of the country along with many of its people. Both my office and the Council's Commission of Inquiry have been refused access to all regions. People do not lose their human rights by virtue of crossing a border without a visa. I deplore the adoption by many countries of policies intended to make themselves as inhospitable as possible by increasing the suffering of many already vulnerable people. In recent weeks, I have become increasingly alarmed by two issues regarding access for civil society organizations to migrants. In the United States, I'm deeply concerned by recently adopted policies which punish children for their parents' actions. In the past 6 weeks, nearly 2,000 children have been forcibly separated from their parents. The American Association of Pediatrics has called this cruel practice government-sanctioned child abuse, which may cause irreparable harm with lifelong consequences. The thought that any state would seek to deter parents by inflicting such abuse on children is unconscionable. I am convinced that the human rights ideal has been the most constructive movement of ideas in our era and among the most successful. Over the past 70 years, a sustained peace has been achieved in and between many societies. Conflicts have been resolved with respect and through law. A vastly increased number of people have been able to meaningfully express their views and access education, healthcare, and opportunities for development without discrimination. I am therefore dismayed by China's continuing efforts to prevent independent members of civil society from engaging with human rights mechanisms, including treaty body reviews, this Council's UPR, and many mandate holders. I encourage the authorities to enable all actors to contribute to all the international human rights mechanisms